Welcome to Raven on the Rock, Denver's way to expose unique talent and original music from local artists. With your host, Rockin' Raven. You're going to enjoy what you are about to hear on Raven on the Rock. Brought to you by Rockin' Raven Productions and the Scoop 303.
Welcome back to Raven on the Rock. Happy Veterans Day. Hope you're being safe out there. I hear the roads are really nasty because Clark Hagan is here. And he said the roads are really nasty, right, Clark?
Yes, ma'am.
So how you doing besides that?
I'm doing very wonderful today. Thank you very much.
Good. I am so glad you're here today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about some music with you.
Me too. I'm excited to hear everything that's on your list. You've got a lot of lists here, dude. Busy, busy man.
I'm trying to stay that way.
All right. Well, let's start out with the first question of the day. Were you born in Colorado?
Yes, ma'am.
You
I'm
were?
a Colorado native.
Oh, so this is nothing for you, this weather today.
Well, I don't know about that now sometimes.
Yeah, I walked outside today and thought I was back in Chicago.
A little windy, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's not usually. Last year it wasn't this cold, was it?
I don't remember quite that way. But...
No, I don't either. I remember this weather in Chicago.
Right. That's why I moved?
This is one of the reasons I moved, yes. I actually didn't realize how bad it was in Chicago until I moved to Colorado.
I see.
And then went back to Chicago and thought, whoa, I lived here for 38 years, really?
That's amazing. Is that where you're from originally?
I'm originally from a south suburb of Chicago called Lockport.
So that makes you a White Sox fan then,
Absolutely
right?
not. That makes me a diehard Cubby fan.
I thought the Southtown guys were into the White Sox and the North guys were in the Cubs.
Well, maybe South Chicago, but no. No.
Awesome.
Cubby fan all the way.
Well, good.
Yes. But I am a diehard Broncos fan now.
That's good. Gave up on the Bears. The Bears.
Well, it just isn't the same without Walter Payton and
Right.
Refrigerator Perry. Yeah, that was an awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a great team. I remember that, the fridge.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you remember? I keep asking people this. You can answer that if you want.
No, that's okay.
It may be somebody important.
I don't know. They can wait. Right? I remember the video. Remember that they did? The
Super Bowl shuffle?
Yeah, the Super Bowl shuffle.
Oh, gosh, yes. Yes, but the one I remember is when Refrigerator Perry actually picked up I don't even remember who it was, but he picked him up. Mm-hmm. He had the football.
Yeah.
And threw him over the pile of guys into the end zone, and they would not count that as a touchdown.
That's amazing.
That's not fair.
No, I agree. If it passed the plane of the goal line, it should have been a touchdown.
Right, whatever works.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you were born here in Colorado.
Yes, ma'am.
But you were in Tennessee.
Yes. I went to Cherry Creek High School, and I graduated from the University of Colorado at Denver, and I got a music degree. And I had done a senior internship out in a recording studio in Louisville, Kentucky, and they said to me that they'd like to offer me a job when I graduated. So
wow.
I graduated, and a week later I was moving out of Denver, Colorado to Louisville, Kentucky to go start a job in the studio as a technician. And so that's where it kind of started for me. And then about 4 years later, I went down to Nashville.
Very cool.
And started chasing the dream.
So, you caught it too, didn't you?
Well, I got very lucky. It's funny when you kind of give yourself some goals or some things you're shooting for, and you might be kind of taking it sarcastically, but when they do come true, it's kind of amazing, because I had always told myself I wanted to win a Grammy, or I wanted to work on a record that would sell 1 million copies, and I wanted to be a rock star, and that whole kind of thing. And so I had to move from Colorado because I knew it was going to happen here. And then when I got out to the England to Nashville and everything, all of a sudden, and when I'm 29 years old with Chet Atkins, I won a Grammy with him for a song called Jam Man. And then the next year, I'm actually playing guitar on a record with him and Tommy Emmanuel. I got nominated for a Grammy. And then I worked on Brian White's second record that actually went platinum for him and made his first record go platinum. So I was able to reach those goals, and it's really weird how I don't know if I subconsciously set those for myself.
Well, of
back
course
in the
you
day,
did.
But,
Of course you did, which just proves the point that when you think positive and you think about the things you want the universe to give you, it gives them to you.
Yeah, well, it's like I tell a lot of people, it's having the drive too. You've got to go out there and try to chase it, and you can't just expect it to come to you, which is is a big deal too. And by me moving away, that made those opportunities happen. Yeah. That I was able to put myself in the right place at the right time, which was amazing. So
now you're married, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you meet her here or there?
I met her in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was actually, she's a singer, and it was her first time in a recording studio. And I was hired by the studio to be an engineer for her to, sing some demos and try to get, some attention out there. And I remember meeting her the first time, and it's funny because I said to my friend who's the studio manager, she comes in and I go, boy, there's a girl I'd like to marry. And we were laughing, and I said, you know what, I'd even love to have some kids with her, too. And we were like, that's funny, and that's funny. And little did I know that would happen, 6 years down the road. And so I've been married to her for 11 years, and we have 2 beautiful girls. And and it's just a wonderful relationship. I've been very lucky to have ran into her that way. I mean, it's really kind of a funny story because we talk about love at first sight kind of thing or whatever, and just amazing how like our first near coincidence of meeting that way, I was in God's hands is all I can tell you.
That is just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is really inspiring.
Yes. So very lucky I was.
I'm just going to keep picturing the studio I want to build.
Right.
I'm going to keep working toward it because Clark said it can be done.
Right. Just got to get some money.
Well, that's part of my vision.
Right, that's good.
I'm rolling around in all this money on the floor of the studio.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, you got to get the whole picture there.
Absolutely.
So you started out as an engineer, you started out as a musician?
Well, I was a musician. I was playing in punk rock bands when I was 13, 14 years old. Yes. I remember, I think one of the my first band's name was Dow Jones and the Industrials in like 7th grade at our talent show. And I got into the jazz. I actually started, my first instrument was the oboe in the 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. And I moved from the oboe to the clarinet, and then I got the electric guitar in 7th grade, and I chucked the oboe.
Because the oboe and the clarinet were just getting the girls, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. So so about 8th grade, I got into the jazz band at West Middle School and playing guitar, and that's where kind of all started from there. And I went from there. I was in a lot of different bands. Oh, and it's funny. I never played in a cover band. I was always playing in original music bands. We were always writing songs and doing that, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to be, we're not in a cover band. We're an original band. And it was all mostly like punk rock. And I remember at age 14, we got to open up for Jello Biafra of the Black Flag here.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome. And here we are 13, 14 years old. And it was just like, our parents like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going out to these kind of neighborhoods. And we're like, yeah, this is cool, isn't it? And, they're like, no, it's not. And I mean, it was awesome. It was a very, very exciting time. And I had
okay, but not that you have your own kids. Do you see where they were coming from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Are your girls musical?
The little bit that they're singing, and I got my oldest one, she writes her own songs. It's kind of funny because she's kind of like a little songwriter. And then I got the other one who's kind of doing the dancing and the singing too. So we'll see what happens with it.
How old are they?
One is 6 and 8.
8 years old and she's writing songs.
Yes. It's quite entertaining. I'm probably the one who probably is her biggest fan, but it's interesting that she just kind of has this natural ability for coming up with some melodies and coming up with some lines. And so I don't know where she learns it from. It must be in the blood.
Maybe. Probably. Yes. I would think so.
Yes.
All right. So how did you get into this Grammy Award engineering stuff?
Well, I got to talk about my first, a lot of it was my first guitar instructor was a guy named Sean McNary. And he was a guy that really taught me about loving music and falling in love with the guitar, with like learning about Jimi Hendrix. And, I wanted to learn about Jimmy Page and Zeppelin and Pete Townsend and so forth. And he really was influential with me on teaching me about playing guitar right and playing from the heart, and just fell in love with music doing that. And then ultimately that would lead me to wanting to go pursue a career in the music industry when I went to college, because I was there at the University of actually Northern Colorado for a couple of years, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I was going to be a geologist or something, or and I was like, I don't know about this. And I saw this music program down at the University of Colorado that Roy Pritz was doing, and it was in the Denver campus, and he had enlisted a professor by the name of Bill Porter there to teach the program, and their idea was to teach musicians how to use recording equipment instead of communication guys or technical guys. And so it really worked out nice that I went to that school, and Bill Porter actually was Chet Atkins' engineer from Nashville from 1959 to 1964. Nice. And he recorded the Everly Brothers and Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley. So here's my professor is teaching, who worked on those records, is teaching me how to make records. And Billy had some amazing stats. Like, he's had over like 50 number one songs have been in Billboard's number one slot, and over 100 that have been in Billboard's top 100. And it's amazing all the songs when you listen to that he has recorded. Like, he did Pretty Woman and Kathy's Clown and Good Luck Charm, and
nice.
It was really amazing. So with that connection, Billy was the one who actually got me the job out in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And then we went down to Chet Atkins' house one time and mixed a song off of a record of his. And that was the first time I met Chet with Bill. Yeah. And here I am, a guitar guy, and I'm walking into Chet Atkins' house. I'm like, oh my gosh! Like, oh, this is Chet. I'm in like here I am in a total master's home. Oh, look at that guitar! I don't want to touch anything, and this and that. But God, I want to pick up that. Or look at that pick there.
Kid in a candy store.
Yes, it was really truly amazing. And little did I know that 2 years later, by me having that relationship with Chet, that when I finally left Kentucky, went down to Nashville, and I was doing technical work, like I was working on people's tape machines and consoles and fix them. So it was great because I was able to meet producers that way.
Oh, was this digital or?
It was analog. It was all analog with with tape and everything. And anyways, I was able to meet up with some other important producers at that time. Really learned how to make records. And I called up Chet one time and I said, "Hey, I'm in town," and he's like, "Yeah, come by and see me." And I was like, great. And so I went by and I chatted with him. He's like, "Hey, my friend Ray Stevens, his engineer, just died, and I, are you engineering right now?" I said, "Yeah." And so the next day, Chet Atkins took me over to Ray Stevens' studio and introduced me to Ray, and Ray hired me the next day to finish his record. Or he was doing a video at the time called Almost Alone. Or no, excuse me, what was that one? Anyways, but Ray did a video, and I got to finish that with him. And the next thing I know, then Chet's hiring me to do his records and stuff. So
wow!
Yes, I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and it was very exciting. I'm being around two masters, and it's funny because even Chet would say to me, he's like, Ray Stevens is the best musician in Nashville. And I'd be like, oh, right, the guy who wrote The Streak? Come on, right? And little did I know that working with Ray, he was absolutely right, because Ray could write string charts, he could write horn charts, he could do background parts. He's writing the music, he's writing the lyrics, and he played piano, he can play drums. It was amazing. I mean, it truly was that was such a true statement that I had found in working with him. Yes. So I just was really in the right place at the right time, and luckily I had the skills, because as I tell people, you can get around those kind of people and they can hire anybody they want to, but if you don't have the skills to be able to work with them, then they're probably going to find somebody else very, very, very quickly. So and I was glad to be able to do the last two records for Chet Atkins before he passed away, and that was really a highlight of my career, I must say, because it was just amazing being around him. He's such a master. If we really look at what Chet has done over the years as far as what his guitar playing, and then who he produced on top of it, and the records he put out. And it's funny, here being in Colorado, people don't realize this, but Chet Atkins was on KOA in 1947 for a year and a half. And you can hear him say, "Here's Chet Atkins and his Swingin' Cowboys." And it's funny. And so Chet then moved back to Nashville from here to take over RCA because they were going to build a studio in Nashville and they needed somebody to run it, and they asked him to come back and do that, and that's what he did. So I don't know if that was kind of a connection with me and Chet too, with the Colorado thing a little bit there too. That it's funny, I never really talked to him about that. I just found that just recently, and I was like, wow, I'm surprised I never knew that about you, and I didn't bring that up or something. So I wish I would have, but. Anyways, but just an amazing man, and being around him and Tommy Emmanuel, they're just such amazing guitar players and great guys. I mean, it's funny. I say sometimes I meet people with bigger egos that have less talent than these guys, because and a perfect example of that is Tommy Emmanuel just did a concert here about 8 months ago at the DU Center, and he called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm in town, and I'd love to have you come out and see us. I'll get you a couple tickets." I'm like, "Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great." So I go down there, and I'm like, I find out, oh, it's sold out. There's no tickets. I'm like, "Hey," I go, "I'll just sit backstage here. It's fine with me, because I'd rather not, kind of be in the crowd and this and that, and I'll just sit back here and watch you play. That'd be great." He's like, "Okay, great." So I'm just sitting right on the side of the stage behind the curtain, And he also starts talking about the song that we did on the record Julian Lennon wrote, and it's called Saltwater. And so he starts talking about the story about, with Chet, and then also he brings me into the story and says, and by the way, here's Clark. Hey, Clark, come out here. And I'm like, at first I just kind of want to put my hand by the curtain and then wave. And like, here you go, okay, hi. And he's like, no, come out here. And he made me get up and walked me on the stage and introduced me to everybody at the Magnus Arena. And I just had to laugh because then I got a few of my friends, I guess, that were there at the show. They texted me like, hey, man, you just signed. I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, so unexpected. And I didn't even ask for it. But here, that's the kind of guy that these kind of guys are. They have no egos. It's not about them. They're there to promote whoever they can, because they're already masters. It's truly amazing to me, I must say. So I was very grateful of that when you see that kind of action, that and I always look at it as with musicians, that's something we can always learn at, that maybe we're not at that level, maybe we don't need to be having this our head blown up so big and everything, because the other guys that deserve to have that don't seem to have that problem. So it's very, very interesting. It's been something I've been kind of dealing with moving back here and getting around our musicians and everything, because a lot of the times I tell people we don't know what we're competing against here in Colorado, because it's not like we have something to go look at. A studio, for instance, there's not one studio in this state that I would say is on the same level as an A studio in Nashville. And we did have one, Caribou Ranch, but that's not around very much anymore. And that's a hard thing too. So if I don't know what a studio that costs, say, $1,500 or $2,000 a day looks like without an engineer, then I have no idea what I'm competing against. I think sometimes too with the songwriting and the musicianship too is we're just not quite at the same level as the cats in Nashville. And I don't know if it's the drive thing that we go out there, we know that we need, or if we go to LA or New York, we have to be there to make something happen in the big cities, because it's very difficult in this town, I must say, very, very difficult. So,
well, I'm zooming in on the universe, and you're going to be my engineer really soon. I feel it.
Thank you so much. I
feel it.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yes.
It's just something I'm very passionate about. I've just been very, very lucky that I've had some very good skills. I've had some amazing teachers. I've been so lucky. I've surrounded myself around masters my whole life, whether it's a Bill Porter or a Chet Atkins or a Ray Stevens or a Jim Guercio or Kyle Lenning or Scott Litt. I mean, I've just been very, very blessed and been lucky to be around these guys and see how songs are made, see how records are made, and it was truly amazing to me. Even with the musicianship, I remember my first session I saw was in Nashville. It was like a Tanya Tucker session. And the guys came in, they listened to a song one time through, they write out the charts, and then they go out to the studio and then they make the record. And I was like going, it's not like you guys had to practice your parts or have to have the song 2 weeks in advance to get your thing down. I'm like, you guys never ever heard the song at all, and you just come in, write the chart out, and go in and play it. I mean, it was amazing. I'm like, oh gosh, these guys are all hillbillies and they're doing this. And I'm like, holy cow! And it was just amazing to watch that whole creativeness. And I try to tell people that studio cats are on a higher level of creativeness than live guys. And when you go see like Blake Shelton out or Miranda Lambert, well, they're the singers, but those guys playing in the band usually aren't the people playing on the record, and they're trying to cop the licks that the studio guys did, and it is just amazing when you really work around people like that. Another per example is like Kenny Passarelli, just another amazing musician that I would refer to as a master. I mean, the guy was been around Elton John, Hall and Oates, and it's amazing the kind of people that he has been around. Right. And I was lucky to be able to hook up with him, and I did some records with him in the last few years with some local artists and stuff that I'm really proud of, that they've come out really wonderful. So I'm hoping that they can get some action and see something happen with these people. So that's kind of exciting to me, is going and chasing the dream all the time. It's what I love to do. So,
well, and I totally understand where you're coming from, because I feel the same way about a lot of these Denver musicians. They're just down to earth guys who just love what they do, and the music comes from their heart, and they have no egos.
Right, right.
And I feel you.
It's an amazing thing, and there's a lot of talented folks in this town, a lot of talented songwriters. But we just got to get some product out there that is going to be competing with the other cities, and that's a hard thing sometimes. I know it's even dealing with some artists sometimes. Is you're some of them don't know what a producer does, and they go to a studio and they hire the studio, and they think, oh, the engineer's going to produce me. and they don't realize that the production starts before you even go into the studio, and some it starts with the songwriting. And so I've had a lot of really great experiences with a couple artists here in town. One being the Dr. Izzy Band, and the other one being Oscar Ross, where they gave me how would I say a full. A white canvas to help them write their songs and try to make them better, and they're really open to it, because songwriting is a thing I notice with a lot of musicians that I always say, and myself being one too, when we write a song, it's like we put blinders on our heads because, we wrote the song and this is, kind of personal about me, and we're not taking the blinders off to say, how can I make this song so that all these other people get it and understand what I'm saying. And that's where, if you can get a producer that can help you with that, they can really help you make your song a lot better. And I think that's a thing I try to tell every musician I deal with too, is you need to start co-writing with other people, because that's how you become a better songwriter, and learn different trades or little tricks or things that happen that work and things that don't work. And I think that's the thing I cannot emphasize enough to up and coming songwriters and stuff, is get around some other people and just get some songwriting done with some other people, and you'll be amazed at how much better your songwriting will come. And Oscar Ross, a perfect example who I worked with him, is now he after I've kind of taught him some formulas or some things like that, it's amazing how his songwriting now it's really blossomed, and it's great to see that. That makes me proud that I was able to influence him a little bit that way. So that's always exciting to me, and I still want these people to win Grammys and sell a million records. I mean, those are still my goals. Don't think just because I've done it I don't want to do it again, because I really do. And it just excites me to get around some of these young cats, and when they got the juice, as I call it, like that they want to go for it and they want to make it all happen, and it's great. And Dave Preston and Dr. Izzy and Oscar Ross are some artists around here that I feel have that kind of same motivation, that they want to make some stuff happen, and it's exciting to be a part of that. Yeah. So
nice. Well, it's exciting for what I do, and just making sure I get all these awesome musicians heard.
Well, and it's a great thing that you're doing here for them, because you're able to give them an outlet that they have a way to be heard, and even people that can even hear them telling their stories, that they get some personality with that too, which I think is a wonderful thing. So I really think you're definitely on the cutting edge thing that you're doing, which is great. And look at some of the people you're getting in here with Eddie Turner and Kenny, and it's great. I'm really just glad to see that. So
and you,
yeah, well.
And thank you again for coming in.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We have been talking for 23 minutes.
Wow. That's
Time
great.
flies when you're having fun.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
And you've got so many more stories.
Yes, I do. You just need to kind of guide me there, and I see if I can tell you some, right?
All right. Well, who is this Carl Straub guy?
Well, Carl Straub is a gentleman from Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, and he's a singer-songwriter. And he was working with my business partner at the time, Jason Steluto, up in D.C. And Carl came down to Nashville to work with me and Jason, because Jason was actually Kyle Lane's production assistant. And Carl wrote some great stuff. It's funny because I was putting this demo together for you today. I was listening to all the songs that I do, and it's funny, people think that because I was in Nashville I just do country, oh, you're a country guy. And I was like going, when I really listen to the stuff I've done, I've done country, I've done Chet Atkins, I've done Brian White, and but then when I started listening like Carl Straub, I go, well, we kind of did a Beatle kind of a thing on this song, and it came out really cool. So I mean, that's what I listened to this one, and as we'll talk about some of the other artists that I've done too, it's interesting to see that I haven't done just country. I've actually done a lot of singer-songwriters, Americana, and rock and roll, which has been awesome. I've just been so lucky to be a part of it. So I just kind of want to say I'm not just country. I do a lot of different styles of music, and as I was listening to him, I was like, man, there's some really good stuff on here.
Yeah. Well, Elvis wasn't country.
No, he wasn't.
And he's from Nashville.
Well, in Memphis, actually. And the funny thing was with Bill Porter, he was at the time in Nashville. He was the only guy really doing rock and roll music and stuff. He didn't like country either. He wasn't doing Patsy Cline, and he was doing Roy Orbison and Little Ronnie and the Daytonas and Joe Tex. And then it's amazing some of the records that guy has done, and it was really more rock and roll, and I think that's why they kind of went to him. And a lot of ways I know for the fact he used to tell me that the reason why Elvis came back to RCA Nashville when he got out of the Army, that's when he first started working with Chet and Ray, and it's because all of the hits were coming out of that studio at that time. So Colonel Parker was like, we need to go here because we need to get you some hits now that you're out of the Army again. And he did an amazing amount there, so just incredible.
All right, well, we're going to take a listen to Carl Straub with his song Lies.
Lies are so much better now, and at last they come in every rationalize. They'll take care of it, and it's amazing what a tiny lie can do for you. That being true, won't be any trouble, and the lies are always there for you, long before you need them. Sooner or later, all your lies will come around and see your side, smile at you without a word. It's just like they're not even lies. Lies keeping your eyes shut, and they'll take you all the way to heaven. Lies keeping your eyes shut, and they'll take you all the way to heaven. Lies keeping your eyes shut, and they'll take you all the way to heaven. Lies keeping your eyes shut, and they'll take you all the way to heaven. Lies.
Very nice. Yeah, that was a little Beatley.
Yeah, yeah. The Vox Continental in there, that organ there kind
Yeah.
of thing. It was cool. I really enjoyed making that record with Carl.
Yeah. So does he have other songs?
Carl actually is getting another record that's coming out, and he's an amazing little guitar player too. He did some video on talking about a gentleman in Bakersfield called Gene Moles, who was responsible for the Ventures and Most Right guitars, and his son actually lives in Nashville, Eugene Moles Jr., who's a friend of mine.
Nice.
And I didn't know Carl had done this thing about his father. And then I told Eugene about Carl, and I think Eugene's going to play on a couple sides of Carl's. And, Eugene was playing with Buck Owens when he was 17 years old. He's playing with Merle Haggard when he was 19 years old. So Eugene's been around. He's an amazing guitar player, but it was great to hook up. I mean, just a small little community that here, I was able to hook up Carl and Eugene with that. So I'm real excited about that. But
We're going to have Carl send me some more songs
Yes,
for
yeah.
my Ravens Eye on Global Talent
Awesome.
segment.
I will
That'd be
definitely
fun.
do that. I definitely do.
All right. Who's Lori Webb?
Lori Webb is a girl in Nashville that I had met, and she was a singer-songwriter, and we did some demos with her, and we were able to get her a publishing deal with Warner Chappell, which is a great thing.
Yay.
So this was a song that we had done that when she had the publishing deal that she was turning in, and it was one that we demoed and I produced for her, and it's called Time Stands Still.
All right. Let's take a listen to Lori Webb.
Moving in ever forward motion, I know we must change. Pictures of the past defy and say that we will stay the same. Time flies on wings to somewhere, and I know that we must grow up and go there too someday. 'Cause time does not stand still while I am away. Time does not stand still, though I'll remember you that way. Time does not stand still. Time does not stand still in yesterday. I'm holding tight to recollections so that they won't fade. But the future is drawing us into itself, and so we turn the page. The distance between the past
Beautiful voice.
Yeah, she was amazing. She was really, really amazing, talented young lady.
And she's in Nashville?
Yep, she's in Nashville. This is a little bit back, a few years back when she'd gotten this publishing deal. I don't know what if she's had any luck with some other things after that, but I tell you, she's just a really, really great songwriter. I think sometimes songwriters too, when they get a publishing deal, they ultimately want to try to be artists too, and I don't know if sometimes that kind of hurts them a little bit because they're just not quite. They refer to things as having it. So when you see somebody like Elton John, he has it, and it's the personality, it's the way to be able to get up and entertain people. It's not about being a great singer. There's a little bit of aspect to that's part of it, but then the other part of it is actually being able to entertain people,
right.
and that's a big thing that when we say having it is and that's what they refer to as with that. And she's like I said, wonderful lady, but I just don't think with her stage presence and everything, she just I don't know. I guess she didn't have it, but she wrote some great songs. I must say
she's got the voice though.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, you're a lucky guy, dude.
No, absolutely. I like I said, I've been very blessed with being around some very, very gifted musicians my whole life, and it's funny. I feel like sometimes my new thing that I'm doing now is how do I get people up to that level in a lot of ways, because even with cats I'm working around here in Colorado, when we haven't been around people like that, we don't, like I said earlier about knowing what we're competing against. I always use the analogy, it's like me trying to show up at the Indy 500 with a go-kart because I didn't know what an Indy car was, thinking I was going to win. But when I saw the Indy car, I'm like, I see what I'm racing up against here. And that's always interesting to me. So this is kind of my little analogy that I use with that. And even in Nashville, it's like people don't realize this. There's probably 30,000 songwriters in Nashville, and only 3,000 of them have publishing deals. So,
right.
And that's you run into all these waiters or taxi drivers or people that are trying to make it out there, and it makes it a little more difficult because there's a lot of people scratching it, trying to get in there too themselves. So
I can give you a list of Denver musicians that I think need a deal.
I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. And, like I said, I love to work with some people, and a lot of it is it's getting them to. I find the interesting thing is since I moved back here is it seems like it's a trust thing, or is it's a what can you do for me kind of a situation. I think that we're kind of missing the point of it. You can look at who I have worked with, and so the trust thing shouldn't be a big issue. But it's not so much that if I work with Clark, he's going to get me a deal, and that doesn't really work that way much anymore. And the funny thing is I kind of laughed at, I myself was doing rock and roll in Nashville, and like a band we'll listen to a little bit later called Dreaming in English, we got them a publishing deal and thought we were going to get something happening with the record. But it's funny because the guys in Nashville say, you know what, we don't tell New York how to do rock, and New York doesn't tell us how to do country. So it's kind of hard for us to pitch these guys and blah, 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 because they're not country. And so it made it a little bit more difficult, because that's kind of the mentality we're kind of dealing with, unfortunately, in Nashville a little bit, because they weren't trying to do rock out of there. But now look at how country music has changed a little bit now, because I really feel there's a lot of heavy rock influence now. And when I listen to songs, and a perfect example is when you listen to the solo, it's not going down. I mean, it's like an actual rock solo now, and it's interesting to me how. And I don't know if they've been trying to get more people enthused about country music. I got to make my fan base bigger. So what can I do? Well, rock and pop seem to be doing a little bit better than, maybe the country, pure straight country, the old country. And so
years and years ago, the old country was country western.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's turning into country rock.
Right. Exactly. Which is interesting.
Now, about 5 years ago, I had a dream, Clark. Tell me if this is unrealistic.
Well, do tell.
I want to make Denver the music capital of the world.
Wow. Well, I think it could happen.
Yeah.
I really do, but it's just a matter of how do we get our product up to the same level that some of these other cats are putting out. And if we don't know what we're competing against, the go-kart, race car thing, I think in some ways it's difficult. Or in some ways, if you get you go around to a lot of studios, home studios here, if these engineers have just worked with local Denver bands their whole lives out of my basement, I'm thinking, well, how is that going to make your music on the level that we need to try to push it to? Because that person's never been around people that have made music at that level. So maybe maybe they don't. I don't mean to diss anybody, but you really don't know because you haven't been around that situation. Or when you're dealing with these amazing guitar players or these amazing background singers or drummers and all that thing. I mean, it's a definite a difference is all I can tell you, and that's a hard thing. I think how do we learn about that when we don't have it around here to learn from? So it's kind of a hard thing, and you can look at how Jim Gershow had success with it. Well, because he already had Chicago in his back pocket, and so for him to build Caribou Ranch in the '70s, and because he needed a place to work out of, and he could do it, and he had the money, and I even look at. His big thing was when he did Blood, Sweat, and Tears record before the Chicago with Spinning Wheel, and he does like 3 sides on that record. And that's what really put his name on the map, that he was able to build a studio in Colorado and then put out product out of there. And you look at all the product that came out of that studio, and it was amazing. I mean, I saw things that there's over 100 million album sales have been given to Caribou Ranch for all the records that were done out of there. And you almost want to look at like what other studios around here have done that kind of thing, and you really, they haven't, and that's a hard thing. And another thing I always try to say is with our industry now, the other thing that's tough is before you'd have backing from a label, or where I could be doing demos, or I could be trying my songs out and seeing how they're developing me as an artist because I've got money, and now they're not doing that much anymore. And then the hard thing too with artists now is I say publishing companies are giving their songwriters $800 to $1,000 a song to do a demo. And I, as a producer, I'd be sitting there and I'd listen to the song and I'd be like, no, 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 maybe, no, no, no. And I remember one artist I did in Nashville, this girl, I think I listened to over 240 songs to find 5 songs for her. And that's the thing that we don't, again, we're not around it, so we don't know it. And so I try to say to musicians here, I'm like, if you can't even spend, $800 to $1,000 a song on your own, what you want to call as your master, how are you even competing with a publishing demo at that point? And you're not. And then it makes it a little bit more difficult too now, because I what I get frustrated with is, here we now are supposed to give our music away for free. And so now as an artist, now I've got to come up with the $8 to $10,000 to do 10 song CD, and it might be a little more, might be 12 or 15 grand, but then I'm going to probably see no return on that investment. I mean, I hope that the people come to my show and they buy T-shirts and hats and stickers, but it's too bad they won't buy my album, because that was something that would help generate money to do the album, and I think that's going to be a tough thing nowadays. So now I'm going to have to do a cheap record for $2,000 or $3,000, and I can't keep up with a publishing demo, but this is my thing, and I think that's hard, because it's what I see as a problem right now is it's very difficult to find great music. It seems like you got to slosh through a lot of mediocre music to find some really good music, where before, when the labels were running the stuff, you only heard good music coming out because they were already filtering the bad stuff, and so that's a hard thing too. So how, with your idea that you have about making this a music mecca, it's a little difficult when we don't have the support of even the town in a lot of ways. And this is another example I use as a Colorado native. I remember the hockey team called the Denver Spurs, and no one really went to those games, and because they were not NHL. Well, we did have an NHL team called the Colorado Rockies, and we didn't do very well, and so they left too. And then I say, but then we buy the Quebec Nordiques, who are supposed to win the Stanley Cup the next year, and we buy them, and they do, and we're Hockey Town. And now everybody will pay $125 to go see a seat at the Pepsi Center to watch hockey. And I'm like, why is it that we can't get people excited about music and art in this town to where they will, for them to drop the $10 on the CD is not a big deal, or for them to buy some T-shirts or support these musicians, it's not that big of a deal, but they don't want to, and I'm always kind of blown away by it. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for the artists here to get a fan base. And another thing too I say is you drive 300 miles in any direction from Denver, and really where you're in the plains of Kansas or Nebraska, or you're in Wyoming, or you're in the desert in New Mexico, or you're on the Colorado-Wyoming border, and it's very tough to build a fan base on there. When I was in Nashville, Atlanta, Georgia was a 5-hour car drive away. Cincinnati, Ohio was a 5-hour car drive away. Louisville, Kentucky was 3 hours. Indianapolis, Indiana was 5 hours. Memphis was 3. So as a band, I could easily drive 5 hours to Atlanta if I had a gig there.
Right.
And play in a huge city that if I'm trying to increase my fan base, you see I'm doing it in different states. So
Right.
it's a little bit easier to do it there. So it is difficult here because how many times you can play Herman's Hideaway
Right.
and hope that you're going to still get people to come and see you and so forth. So it is a little difficult with that. And bands got to realize, too, that then you need money for tour support. And that means going out on the road. If you need to get a van, if you need to pay for your hotel, you need to pay for your food. And these are costs that we don't realize. So, to really being a band and to get out there and make it, you got to come up with a good business plan. You got to have some good ideas and you got to have some money behind it. It's like anything I say, it's like doing a business. If I was a plumber and I needed to buy the van and I needed to buy all the plumbing materials, all the tools, and I mean, how much would that cost me to start a business?
Right.
50, 60, 70 grand probably. And that's probably cheap,
Right.
but that's, I think, the hard thing with the bands to do nowadays is now we're expected to do that to be competitive and hope the band doesn't break up. I've seen that happen many times. Like, so the record comes out and I was like, oh, now we're broke up. And like, great.
Yeah.
So
I've seen that a lot too.
yeah, and that's a hard thing. And so I don't know what quite the answer is too. And I will just say, and in some ways I'm a little disappointed in some of the bands that have made it, even like the Fray or
303.
303. They don't. Isn't it amazing how they don't record here? Mm-hmm. They go to New York or L.A. And so if anybody wants to argue with me about Ace Studios here in Colorado, then I want to say, why aren't those guys recording here if we had it? If we had Caribou Ranch here, they probably would be going up to Caribou Ranch and doing it there. But we don't have that facility here
We
anymore.
will.
Hopefully, yes.
Remember when you said, I'm going to marry her and have 2 children?
Yes.
Well, you and I are
Okay.
going to do this. We
Great.
are going to make Denver the music
Well, I'm excited
capital of the world.
I'm excited because there's a lot of great talented people here, and
There
that's the
is.
thing. And it's a matter of how do we get our product out there, and be competitive with what else is on the air, because the radio is still a viable.
I cannot
thing.
believe what I'm hearing on the air. And that
Yeah.
is like one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show,
Yeah.
because of the crap that I'm hearing on the radio.
Yeah. Well, if I had to, this is just kind of my own personal opinion about the whole business in essence, but I feel it's turned into selling widgets now is what I would describe it as. It's not about finding this great performer and we're going to get behind them and really push them and see what happens. It's about what can I sell 1 million of? And I don't care if these guys can play or can't play when they play live, because we can have them sing the tracks now.
Right.
They don't have to pull it off live and like they used to have to. And
Right.
and I think that's a sad thing, is it's now the business has become a manufacturing kind of a thing where it's about the widget thing. What can I sell 1 million of? And if they're not around after a while, that's great. And an example I use is we look at like Peter Frampton, and he
I
put
had a poster of him over my bed.
his Frampton Comes Alive.
Yes.
Well, that record, Frampton Comes Alive, sold 1 million copies, and that was his 4th record he did. But it was all of the songs that he did off the first 3 records that didn't sell. And I was like, for a label to invest into somebody for 4 records and then all of a sudden it finally hit, they won't do that anymore.
Right.
Nowadays they'll sign you to a 1 record deal with 1 option. And the Flobots had that. First record sold great. Second record came out, didn't do very well, and they were done. And it was over with.
I love that song, but I hated that song at the
Yeah.
same time. That song, I remember my son fixed cars, and my garage was his garage, and he had a radio going. And then every morning when I woke up and I took my coffee out in the garage to have my cigarette, every morning that song would come on, and it's like it would stick in your head.
Yeah.
And for the next 2 hours, I was hearing about a bicycle.
Right. It's right. And I think,
But it worked.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think a lot of ways about to get our music out there, it's different nowadays too, because I really feel that the Fray, with them being able to get the song on Grey's Anatomy, that was really the thing that pushed them over the edge. Because the people that are watching Grey's Anatomy probably weren't Fray fans to begin with, but then all of a sudden they hear the song like, oh, that's so cool, because they see it on the TV thing. And that happened with Lisa Loeb, too, with her first song that she did that was on a movie. And then next thing you know, all of a sudden she gets in a bidding war over giving her a record deal. And it was funny because, that was her biggest song. I don't think she ever really did anything bigger than that one after that one. But it's interesting how nowadays I think a lot of artists are looking into movies or soundtracks to try to get their edge in it. And the hard thing too, I say with that is, but they pay you one price and that's it. So it's not like you're getting royalties off that or anything like that. So it could be a start for you to get the notoriety that you need, but it's
Do you know what I do a lot?
What's that?
I watch soap operas. Okay, I don't sit in front of the TV at 11 o'clock.
Right.
You know, now with technology, I can go to bed watching it.
Right.
But a lot of the songs in The Young and the Restless and The Bold and Beautiful, I will try to Google to find that song. It will hit me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you see how the media can really help you out with that. You're absolutely right. But I always think you better have another one that's just as good as that one too, because that's always a hard one too.
Right. Do you know the movie? And I know this isn't the name. Joe and I watched it, and I love this movie, The One Hit Wonders.
Yes.
What's the name of that movie?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what the title of it is. But yes.
And that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
But see, that's just it, Clark. The musicians around here, I know them now. I don't think the ones that I'm talking about, it's not going to happen to them.
Right.
They're not going to let it do that to them.
Right.
Because they're real humans.
Well, and I think there's going to be a surge where people want to hear true artism in some ways from this, because they're going to get tired of the manufactured thing. I mean, I hated going and seeing these people sing the tracks all the time live. I'm like going, wow, we're paying like $100 a seat for these guys to do karaoke basically, and that's crazy. I mean, I don't remember it that way when the Stones were playing up at Folsom Field with Jethro Tull and John Cougar or something.
And that's sad, because you have to be able to give them what they hear on the radio.
Well, because that's what they want. And if you look at it now, it's amazing how it's a visual thing now. So a concert has to be this whole visual with the videos and the dancers and this whole thing going on. And it's funny, I was thinking the other day, like when I did see the Who and Jethro Tull at Folsom Field, really the thing that was cool was all the lights they had, because they didn't have videos and stuff like that. They might have had a smoke machine and stuff like that, but really it was their performance on stage that really was amazing. And hearing them do a song different than it was done on the record, that was cool. And them really letting their musicianship show, and that was amazing to me. And now I feel like now that we got these tracks, it's just a matter of getting up there and faking it. And I even got some buddies that work in, they're like wedding singers and so forth, and they've been playing some big gigs too. And there's this one friend of mine who's playing this big gig with these guys, and he says, we sing the tracks. And he's like, I'm faking it, playing my keyboard, because we're up. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But he's like, well, that's what these parties are about now. And he's like, even the singing, it's all on the tracks. I just kind of sit there and smile, and I'm like, so you're just like a puppet kind of up there, pretending you're playing and pretending you're singing and just having a good time and getting your moves down. And he's like, yeah.
I'm not going to say anything bad about her, because I love her, but I don't know if this was a fluke or what. But Taylor Swift, I remember seeing this on TV, and I just sat there with my mouth open. She was dressed up like a hee-haw girl, and she's singing around these hay bales and stuff. Oh my gosh, Clark, she sounded horrible. Now, I've never seen her in concert, so...
Well, if she's singing the tracks, then she's never going to sound horrible. And this is funny. I remember when I was in Nashville about 2000, Tim McGraw came out and admitted that he was using vocal pitch correction when he sings live.
Really?
And he admitted to the Nashville newspaper, the Tennessean. And I thought that was so funny. I was like, well, it's good that he admits that, because if they would have found out, and he didn't, then it would have been a scandal and all this. And his justification behind it was, he's like, well, when people are paying $100 a seat to come see me, they do not want to hear me hit a bad note. And I was like, wow, I kind of get that a little bit, but that's that's kind of too bad. In some ways, does that mean you can't really sing that well, or that you got to have this bad note syndrome you got to be worried about all the time, that you got to have pitch correction? And that's part of it. And if you look at it from 2000 now to 2013, and you go see a show now, it's amazing, all the videos and the dancing thing and the stuff. And I'm always laughing, like, when you see these girls like Britney and they're doing their dance thing, and I'm like, you can't sit there and tell me that if they're singing, they wouldn't go,
no. Absolutely not, yeah. I was a dancer.
Yeah, and I'm
There's
like,
no way.
Right. And I'm always like, you know what, they keep the mic live so you go, come on, let me hear you say it, but the rest of it, they're faking it in their mouth and
Yeah.
it because
Right.
it's got to be correct. And it's funny to me how that's what I think changed the game now. So where we're having the widgets for sale, that then what if they can't sing and they
And
can't
now,
play
in
live?
all fairness, didn't Milli Vanilli get slapped for that?
They had to give their Grammy back for
Yeah,
that, for
that's
the
not
exact
fair.
same thing. Well,
Now, see, I'd be going back to court on that one.
right. Well, I think part of that though is the fact that Milli Vanilli didn't sing any of the stuff on the record. It was other people that sang it, right? And they were just the puppet in front of there. But in essence, you're absolutely right. Isn't that kind of the same thing then at this point? I mean,
Right.
I think that's Miley Cyrus singing, but I don't know. Maybe it could be
It could
somebody
be
else.
somebody
and she's
else.
just, and you never know.
Could be Lori Webb.
Right, exactly. So, and I'm always intrigued by that. I just, it's a little disappointing to me because I think it kind of takes away from the dream in some ways. Because now, if I got to make widgets, then I got to totally be thinking differently. And I even think sometimes with artists that I work with, sometimes I know, well, what are your songs are about, or things like that. And I worked with this gentleman, Ronnie Davis, and he came to me and had 3 songs that I helped him kind of rewrite, but one was a NASCAR song, one was a song called "These Colors Won't Run," and the other one was the song called "Real Men Wear Pink." And so that was a Susan Coleman thing. The other thing was for the soldiers, and the other thing was for the NASCAR people. I'm like, you already got your fan base built right there, so it's not like trying to bust out, here's the new Ronnie Davis and make me this big thing, And that's the thing I always try to say is that at least I was intrigued with him. That I said, you got these 3 songs I think are pretty strong that could, you have the fan base already there for NASCAR fans, and you have the fan base with, These Colors Won't Run
Right.
from the military. And so those are things that kind of intrigued me a little bit more because I was like, well, if I got to be smarter about songs and which songs people might pick up on, then that's something I got to take into consideration a little bit more. So it kind of does take away from maybe doing the true art form of music in some ways because we got to try to make something we can sell and people will support the artist and stuff. So it's changed. It's really different. And I even laugh at how I used to listen to song demos, and I always can tell a good song with just like a guitar and a vocal or a piano vocal because I'm always like, if the song is strong, it will hold itself with one instrument. And it's not because I did drums on this that made it a hit. And that's a misconception too. But I always feel that that's a big thing. But nowadays, when you're pitching songs, is the people picking songs, they want to hear the song completely produced. They can't tell just the song vocal demo thing anymore, and that's a sad thing now because then we're not getting maybe some of the better songs out there because of that fact. And I noticed that before, when you had a song demo that was, say, a guitar vocal one, if I'm going to the studio and we're going to cut that with a full band, well, then the band's going to put in their own kind of colors and their own little way they plan it to really make the song shine. And nowadays, you'll see these guys, they'll take a fully blown demo and they'll just reproduce it with studio musicians, but it's the same as the demo was. And I was like, wow. So that's going to cost a little more money, obviously, when you got to hire musicians or, you got to have a producer or instances like that to really be competitive until you can get in. And then once you're in, then, you have the machine run for you. So it makes it a little more difficult. But then it goes back to the thing of how do we get the money to afford to start this business? And that's a hard thing, too.
Yeah.
So, and those are frustrating things. I think those are always things that artists will always face. It's like being a painter or a sculptor or whatever. And, you can make
Radio show host.
you can make this great pot, but it's trying to find the person to buy the pot and want another piece or something. But it's hard, but I think that's always the challenge of it. I always like challenges. I love to have to struggle a little bit to try to make me do better. That's the thing I've always enjoyed trying to do is how can I make this artist better? How can I take this artist to the next level? How can I try to help them get closer to maybe getting a record deal or getting a publishing deal, or who knows what can happen there. And those are my goals every time I work with an artist. I still want to make that happen. It's not so much about the money and this and that. It's about really trying to help people go chase their dreams. It's what I think I enjoy the most out of my job of being a producer, is helping young cats go and chase their dreams like I did, and hope they have some success like I did. Because that's even more exciting.
Can always send them here to be on my show.
Right, exactly. Well, maybe I think I'm gonna try sending you a few for sure.
I would love that.
Absolutely.
Well, who's this Rooster?
Rooster was a band that I did. They're from Detroit, Michigan, and they came down to Nashville. I co-wrote this song, I think it's called 400 Miles.
Yes.
And the lead singer was a guy named John Cott, and he's actually in a band called Mo Giles, and they are playing like down in the panhandle of Florida and Alabama, all over the place, and it's great. And he's a very, very talented young man. And this is one of my favorite songs that has really stood the test of time with him, because he's done some other songs and put out some other records, but he's always like, God, everybody loves this side and this song and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I know, it was a really good song.
All right. Well, let's take a listen to 400 Miles by Rooster.
It's been 400 miles and 13 lies and 14 long hard days. I've been traveling, not thinking when, no, I see you again. When I wrote this song, I was all alone in my hotel room. And when the bedsheet bites, well, I love to right now. And I'll see you soon, yeah. Well, I've been driving now about 3 whole days. And can you take the wheel? I never thought I'd be this goddamn tired, no. I just wish I could sleep. When I left you home, girl, all alone, without 2 loving dogs, did you think about me all damn night? Or did you know I wrote the song? Time keeps rolling on. And time keeps rolling on. Time keeps rolling on. Time keeps rolling on. When I left you there standing in the wind, I saw that tear in your eye. I never meant to cause you any pain, no. I didn't mean to make you cry. Well, I never meant to say those things that I said to you that night. I didn't know you'd get so damn upset, no. I didn't mean to start a fight. Time keeps rolling on. Time keeps rolling on. Time keeps rolling on. Time keeps rolling on. Rolling on. It's been 400 miles and 13 lives and 14 long hard days. It's been 400 miles and 13 lives and 14 long hard days. Yeah, it's been 400 miles. Yeah, it's been 400 miles. Yeah, 400 miles and 13 lives. 400 miles and 13 lives.
400 Miles.
Yes.
Clark and I were talking during that song, and it just, makes me think even more. So you went to Nashville, You learned all this stuff. Why do you think you came back to Denver?
Well, I came back because I wanted to start my family with my wife, and my family's been in the sporting goods business for over 40 years here in Colorado. So my uncle wanted me to come back and help him with his company as a manufacturer's rep, and I was like, I need something a little different. I need something with maybe some stability, and I'm trying to start a family. Maybe I'll go home and check. And I actually was in a pretty heavy duty car accident in 2000. That I was in a coma for a week, and I was in Craig Hospital for 3 months, and so that kind of changed the game a little bit there too. I have to say, I didn't really realize that at the time, because I was just trying to fight to get back to where I was at, but it was definitely a struggle. And then when my uncle offered me the job to come back and everything, I said, well, you know what, let me just try that. And so I did that, and that didn't quite work out, I guess, the way it was supposed to, but that's all right. I'm a survivor. I will figure out how to make some stuff happen. So I just
No, I'm telling you.
jumped back into the music business here
All
in
that
Colorado.
happened because you were not ready to meet me yet.
Right, good.
I got this vision.
Awesome. I love it. It's
gonna work.
I'm into it. I'm totally into it.
Uprising. Where'd they come from?
This is a band, another local band I did some writing with. Actually, with the guitar player is a gentleman named Mark Yoakum, who's played in the Trippin' Griswolds and plays in Bad Candy. And
so they're from Denver.
Yes, absolutely. And the young gentleman was the singer guy was Tate, and this is a song that we kind of wrote, and we actually got some juice on this one because the snowboarding team used it. For one of their snowboarding riders and stuff, which was great. So it's a neat little tune. But that was one I did here with some cats that I met. And Mark's a great guitar player, one of the better ones I've seen in Denver. So we're real thrilled to write some songs and do this with him.
All right, let's take a listen to "You Make Me" by Uprising.
Those late nights
I love that one.
That was a great little ballad there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really great song.
Very nice.
And you know, the other thing too is crazy to me too is you can have some great songs, but you need somebody to pitch this stuff and to get out there. And that's the thing, you know, I can make great product, but I'm not the guy that can sell the stuff, and I'm not the salesman, unfortunately. And that's something that I think we need help here too with us, is somebody that can be going out and hustling stuff in Nashville and LA and New York. And even like my friend Jessica Cole has Lyric House Publishing, that she's now doing stuff out of L.A. and Nashville now, and because, you know, she knew she had to go get out there to try to get some stuff happening, and she's been very successful at it, and I really, really applaud her for doing that. So there's like another outlet for us here as the local musicians. There is a publishing company here in town now that we can try to at least go pitch some stuff that they're trying to hustle it and make something happen. So who knows? Things could be changing.
Nice. So where's Lance Cohen from?
Lance Cowan is from
Cowan.
Nashville, and this is a great little story. Lance was friends of mine and Jason's, and he's actually like a publicist, but we found out what a great little songwriter he is. And he does these, you know, I really was drawn to Americana songwriters more than, say, country guys in a lot of ways in Nashville. And so this is a song that he did, and actually Sam Bush is playing mandolin on it. And yeah, he had some really great players on this cut here. But I loved the thing I loved about Lance is he's like a storyteller songwriter. And this song, I think, is called "So Far From Home," and it's a really, really neat little storytelling song.
Nice.
So,
well, let's take a listen. "So Far From Home" by Lance Cowan.
Another cup of coffee black, another egg in my poor bag. You'd think by now I'd have the knack of traveling alone, but it's just me in this old car on 1,000 miles of broken tar. I just saw a falling star, so far, so good, so far from home. I bet the folks all miss me so. Maybe not, well, who could know? 'Cause things like that are touch and go. But what's a man to do? I'm out here on this interstate. It's 3 a.m. and I'm wide awake. And as long as this old car don't break, so far, so good, so far from home. And the ones I love, and all I'm thinking of is turning this car around. Another cup of coffee black, another egg in my poor back. You'd think by now I'd have the knack of traveling alone. When I'm old and when I'm tired, I'll sit home and I'll stoke the fire. But until then I'm up for hire. So far, so good, so far from home. So far, so good, yeah.
So, Clark,
yes.
do you know that it's Jackson Sellers' 3rd birthday today.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding.
Oh my goodness.
He is 3 years old today.
3 years old? Wow.
Yes, and he is having a birthday party right now
How come we're not there?
because we're here.
Oh, okay.
But somebody came in the studio to tell Jackson a very special birthday. So take it away.
I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots, sworn protector against the forces of Megatron. And I also heard it's your birthday. Well, I've come to bring you a very special message, straight from the Autobots themselves. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from the Autobots. Happy birthday to you. Now remember, don't accept any cake from the Decepticons. They can be very deceptive. In the meantime, transform, roll out, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Jackson.
That's awesome, Jackson. Wow. I didn't know I was going to be next to the Autobots.
I know.
That was awesome.
I know.
That was awesome.
That was so nice of Optimus Prime to come in and say happy birthday to Jackson,
Wow,
too.
I got to sit next to him. That was cool.
Yes. Very cool. Don't eat. Save me a piece of cake, Jackson. I'll see you tomorrow. So, I was just telling you, and this just blows me away. I was at the Toad Tavern a few weeks ago, and I saw Dr. Izzy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
What a small world this is, isn't it?
I did a record with Kenny Passarelli and Dr. Izzy and her husband Robert, and it's an amazing record. There's songs about her life and her struggles and how she has just totally commanded them and come out on top every time. The lady just blows me away over and over again, and an amazing voice. And watching her develop as an artist has been really an amazing thing for me, because getting on stage, and each time she gets on the stage she gets so much better each time, and it's just awesome to watch, and the band's getting better, and I really have high hopes for those guys, because they have some really great material that has a lot of depth, and you hear the stories of Izzy and what she went through, and it's truly remarkable, and it's just a great record, and I'm just so glad that I was able to produce that with Kenny Passarelli, and Kenny played bass on it, and we got some people out of Otis Taylor's band to play some violin, and Otis came in and played some banjo, and we got Larry Thompson on drums. I mean, it was a really great record, really super. So I'm really excited that you got to see them and you like them.
I do, and I got to get them in here on my show.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be very fun.
We'll have to play a song of theirs before I get out of here tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we're ripping something right now, and we're going to play something else while we're ripping the CD that he just handed me. Tell me about... Don't tell me. Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright.
Is Mr. Wright Mr. Wright, really?
Yes, I think so. Well, they were actually a little three-piece band, and it was two brothers that were twins.
Ooh.
And on guitar and drums, and then they had the singer bass player. And these are some young cats that I got turned on to by a lady called Marlene Palumbo. And she'd been talking to these boys, and she says, you guys really want to do something? You got to get together with Clark and this and that. So we got together with them. They let me help them with the songwriting again, and we cut a couple sides. And I think the song I gave you is called Our Time Is Now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And where are they from?
They're here from Denver, Colorado, too. Yeah, because I wanted to tonight bring in some stuff I've been doing with some local musicians more than, here's,
awesome.
the big guys. But, because I like to help promote the local guys as much as I can and everything. But they were a real great band to work with. I love three-piece bands. I'm always impressed when a three-piece band can pull it off. That's the deal to me, like a Cream or a Hendrix or, that kind of a thing. It's awesome to watch.
Nice.
So...
Well, here's Mr. Wright with Our Time Is Now.
Can't sit still, I'm against all odds. Thought I heard the call, could I be wrong? In the shadow of a doubt lies the dream I won't live without this time. time is now. And by the way you sang before, this is the moment you were waiting for. It's now. No matter where this road leads you, don't lose the light that's guided you. I'm not afraid to fall. No matter if I lose it all, let's take this chance. Don't push my back against the wall, calling out to make a sound. Come too far to turn around this time. Our time is now. And by the way you sang before, this is the moment you were waiting for. It's now. No matter where this road leads you, don't lose the light that's guided you. And I won't back down. And all of hell can't stop us now, and it's crushing me. Yes, there's all the ways to rid the destiny. We started as a simple spark. It's burning now within my heart tonight. Our time is now. And by the way you sang before, this is the moment you were waiting for. It's now. No matter where this road leads you, don't lose the light that guided you. Our time is now.
What'd you think of that one? That was a nice little song, wasn't it?
That was a very nice little song.
Inspirational little song. I really like that.
Yes. So tell me, what are we going to play by Dr. Izzy?
I think you're going to probably play Matches Don't Burn Memories, the very first song on that CD.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites.
Well, I think we should do that right now, don't
Okay.
you?
Since we were talking about him, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah. And you know what? She did. I'm pretty sure she played this at,
At the Toe Tavern?
yes.
Yeah.
Because I remember something about matches.
Right. Matches Don't Burn Memories.
All right, Dr. Izzy, if you're
Memories
out
fade
there,
away. I love that.
if you're out there, I got to get you in here on the show. So here is Dr. Izzy with Matches Don't Burn Memories.
I've been drinking whiskey, rocking on this porch. I've got a box full of matches, each one's a little torch. Sifting through our pictures, like to burn them, every one. Been tossing out your clothes, why this is so much fun. I could start a fire, like the one you lit in me. Matches don't burn memories, why can't I let it be? Got a pocket full of pills, could they set me free? You can't know how I feel, all this pain and misery. Believed you when you told me how our love would always last. Seems like it's been years, yet only one has passed. You know my heart is burning, can I relight this flame? Matches don't burn memories, won't you take me back again? The flames are burning brighter, the ashes float away. Matches don't burn memories, so in my mind I strike the final flame. Too late to reconsider, too sad to live in pain. Matches might burn memories, won't you take me back again? I wonder if you care. I should fall so down, you would find my ashes in a house burnt to the ground. Matches don't burn memories, memories fade away. Matches don't burn memories, ashes float away. Matches don't burn memories, memories fade away. Matches don't burn memories, ashes float away. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. And you know, Clark was just telling me that Dr. Izzy is a chiropractor. And those of you that don't really know, she's blind and she's a chiropractor.
And she became a doctor while she was blind. That's what's amazing
Yeah.
about this lady, is all of the, I don't know if I'd call them tragedies, but all the things that she's had going against her in her life. And she just comes out with her fists up in the air and says, "I'll show you," and does it. It's truly amazing to be
her.
around people like that. It's exciting and it's exhilarating.
Good for
And that's also
her.
James Cotton playing a harmonica on that, which he's a very, very famous blues harp player. And she had a really great band with her to do that record, I must say.
Yeah. Very nice. Boy, you got a lot of awesome friends.
And thank you.
And I just think it's hilarious. I saw Dr. Izzy, and I've been thinking about, getting a hold of Dr. Izzy and having her come on the show.
Yeah.
And then here you are
Right.
telling me that Kenny's out playing bass.
Yes.
And, oh my gosh.
And he co-produced that with us, and he co-wrote the songs too. So it was a real team effort with Dr. Izzy and her husband Robert and me and Kenny. It was a really, really great experience, I got to tell you.
What a small world
Yes.
this is. Very cool. Okay, well, we got some more. We only have a half an hour left, though, and I want to let you all know that Clark is coming back because he still has 4 CDs over there that are sitting there that are not on my computer yet. And I'm sure he has that many more stories. So we are going to get him back in here for part 2.
Awesome. I'm glad to share it with you.
So Joanna Yeager.
Joanna Yeager was a young 17-year-old girl that she placed in the, not The Voice, but American
Idol.
Idol, yes. And she did on the East Coast. And I got hooked up with her and had an amazing voice. And this is a song that we were cutting some songs for her that she could kind of get out there and hopefully get some gigs going for her on the East Coast and so forth. I wrote a couple songs with her, but this is a song that I think really came out great with her. I think it's called As Long As We're Here.
It is. And where is she from?
She's from Pennsylvania.
Nice. All right. Here's Joanna Yeager with As Long As We're Here.
We had this stupid fight. Now I've been up all night crying. I wanna be close to you, keep love from slipping through my hands. Words and anger like shots from a gun. Hard to take back once the damage is done. Let's stop now. As long as we're here, alive on this earth, I'm gonna love you for all that it's worth. And one of these days, we're gonna take off and fly. Until then, let's make the most of
So Joanna is now about 20.
Yes. She's an amazing singer. And I love that song. That song really came out great.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoyed that song.
Yeah, very pretty. Who is this Dave Preston guy?
Well, he's like one of my new favorite artists that I luckily got to work with, and I actually did this record with Kenny Passarelli too.
Of course you did.
On a couple that I, and Dave's been an amazing.
You know, I
guitar
could throw his name around too. I watched his dog last week.
There you go. That's good. That's good. You need to. But Dave's is a local musician. He's played with Matt Morris, and he went on the road with Matt, and also worked with Kelly Clarkson, and it was funny. I'd always see him in the studio working with Matt and some other cats, and we never did anything together. And somehow, when he was ready to do his first record as a singer-songwriter, because mostly he's done like, how do I say? I don't know if I call it mood music, but it's kind of instrumental. There wasn't really lyrics and stuff behind it, and it was cool. So this is his first record where he was working actually singing and songs that he wrote and everything, and I was able to be a part of that. And me and Dave became very good friends, and I was able to really get involved with this record, and I'm just very, very super proud of it. He did an amazing job on it, and I just am really thrilled to be able to have been involved with making this record for him and doing that. It was really a thrill to work with Dave, and so I was really excited about that. Another great Denver artist.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take a listen to his song right now.
You could fly, I know you can. You could soar around the world. Help us all become enlightened, and you'll breathe it in to know you will be illuminated with the spark of 1,000 stars. You rise to just survive, and you'll breathe it in to know watch the sky, align satellite. My love, you are mine, you shine. You'll sustain, you'll live on, you will glow if you start to fade. Going home is so inviting, and you'll breathe it in to know
Alrighty, that was Mr. Preston.
Love that song. He's
Nice.
really a very talented young man. I just really
Yes.
enjoyed that record. That was a great fun time we had making that record. Hopefully I can make another record with him. I look forward
Well,
to
I
that if
bet
I
you
can.
can.
So,
I bet you can. So, here you got a story for me about Tantric.
yeah, well, this next song I'm going to tell you about, it's a band called Tantric, and they were the original members of Days of the New, which came out of Louisville, Kentucky. And Days of the New's first record sold over 1.5 million copies, and it put them on the map. They were opening for Metallica. I remember when they went on tour, and they were opening for Metallica on that tour,
Cool.
and that was awesome. And so needless to say, coming after the first tour and going on the second one, Travis had some issues with the band and basically fired them and got new people to do his second record. And so these boys didn't know what they were going to do, and so they kind of stuck together, and they got another singer out of Detroit, Michigan, called Hugo. And the band was called Carbon 14, but then they decided to change it to Tantric. And so the song here, what you're going to hear is I took them down to Nashville to try to cut some sides on them, to try to hopefully get their manager to pitch them to get them a record deal. And the song that we're going to listen to here is a few of the songs that didn't make it on the record. They did get signed by Madonna's label on Maverick. Unfortunately, I didn't get to produce the record because they were told, well, do you want to get the guy that did Chet Atkins, or you want to get the guy that did, Soundgarden or Alice in Chains?
Really?
And that was Toby Wright. So I guess if I was 19 or 20 and I had to choose, I might have picked Toby Wright too myself. But I didn't get to make the record, unfortunately. But it was nice that I was able to be a part of, doing their demos and producing their little thing that got them signed. So,
They'll be back.
yes. So they say.
No, they'll be back. They'll be in our studio.
Right.
All right, here's All to Myself by Tantric.
I wanna be all to myself. 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 Take me from the stage. Save me from some rain. Something's gotta get on my nerves. I can't wait for the day when I can let my concerns go with me. I see, now I'm feeling my mind. I can move, I can hear, I can see. Why don't you feel me? I wanna be all to myself. 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 Take me from the stage. Save me from the sun rays. Someday, something's gotta get on my nerves. I can't wait for the day when I can let my concerns go with me. See, now I'm feeling my mind. I can move, I can hear, I can see. Why don't you feel me? I wanna be all to myself. I wanna be all to myself. I wanna be all to myself. I wanna be all to myself.
That was amazing. I forgot about that. That sounded good there.
I kind of heard a little Stones in there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, this is a funny story. When I did the second record with Travis Meeks and Days the New, it was amazing. He put a band together, and one of the background singers was Nicole Schrenzig from the Pussycat Dolls, and this was her break. This is where she got a gig, and Scott Litt, saw her, and all of a sudden it was like boom. She just went to this, and it's funny because I'll never forget when we would go down to Nashville when they were rehearsing to go on tour.
Yeah. And
I had one of my buddies from middle school and high school. His name's Jim Scarborough, and Jim would always come out and visit me for his little vacation time. And for some reason he had the most impeccable timing, because one time he comes out and here we're going and seeing Days of the New, rehearsing, getting ready for the Metallica show. And then the next year he comes out and he gets to go into the studio with me and Tommy Manuel, and we're doing the Finger Pickers Take Over the World CD. That here's one of my best friends just hanging out with me and around all these icons. And I said to him one time, I go, did you ever think that when we were in middle school and you were a year older, I was in 7th grade and you were in 8th grade and we're doing the talent show, that me and you, say when we were 20 years later, would be sitting in Chet Atkins' house with Tommy Manuel and Jerry Reed and Fred Foster, who owned Monument Records. I mean, it was crazy. We just laughed about that because I was just like, your timing, every time you come out here, for some reason you always get to hang out with cool cats, and it was just amazing. So that was neat to be able to share some of those experiences with some of my good friends and everything. So, which is awesome.
It's just great for you to have those experiences.
No, absolutely. And I'm glad I'm able to share them a little bit too, because they were wonderful times.
Yeah. Well, during that last song, Dr. Izzy actually messaged me on Facebook.
Oh,
and yes.
That's awesome. She's been listening then. That's great.
Yes, and we're going to work on our schedule. So
Good. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah. Well, Clark's coming back. You going to come back Monday for
I'm going
part
to see
2?
if I can. Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to try to get him back on Monday. But the 19th and beyond, Dr. Izzy, we're live on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So you let me know.
That'd be awesome.
Now, if it's snowing,
plan for extra time to get here.
Right. Clark left at 4.
and he barely made it.
And he should have left at 2:30.
Yeah, exactly. So,
hey, it all worked out.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, good.
So, Dreaming in English.
This is a band I did in Nashville. I loved these guys. These were a rock band, and I loved it because the singer was a amazing guy, and it was really cool, and it kind of reminded me of like a Living Colors kind of a thing, because the singer Ty, he was totally a soulful R&B kind of he's a black man, and the band was all these white guys, and they were rocking out, and I loved them. And so we did this record, and they actually got a publishing deal off of this, and unfortunately I think that the band broke up because things didn't turn out the way they wanted to sometimes. But here's a couple great songs that I really was really proud of this record, and it came out great, for a country boy.
All right, here the first one is Where is the Sun?
One more star falls from the heavens, and the sky is just a little bit darker. Another life is wasted on this planet, and the world is just a little bit harder. His mama's pride and baby brother's hero. Every prayer and promise down the drain. Yeah. Mixed with the blood that's spilling down these sidewalks. When angels cry and heaven starts to rain. Where is the sun? Where is the sun? Where is the sun? light don't shine in the jungle overgrown with fear. Fear. It's a world where a single gunshot makes more noise than 1,000
All right. So we got another dreaming in English.
Yeah, I wanted to do one of these last ones with them because I love the title of the song is called "Girl, I Love Your Butt."
So did I spell it right? B-U-T.
Yes.
I love you, but.
Well, I love you, but yeah, but you'll have to listen to the song.
But not I love you, your butt.
Well, it could be though.
There are so many songs about butts nowadays.
Right,
What's going
right.
on?
So,
Yeah. Girl, I love you, but. You know, I can't wait to hear this song because, you know, there's always a but, isn't there?
well, but the thing that's great about this song is the play on the words. So there's some good intelligent depth vocals there, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, this is our last song of the evening for Clark Hagan, Part 1. Girl, I love you, but.
I can't shake these thoughts that wake me in the middle of the night, all alone. I can't break the code you're sending whenever you call me on my cellular phone. First you say you're sure you want me, you're like a fire burning out of control. But the next day finds you acting funny. Or was it something I said that made you turn so cold? A love like this is helter-skelter. My emotions run for shelter. Girl, I love you, but you mess with my mind too much. Girl, I love you, but girl, I love you, but you mess with my mind too much. Girl, I love you, but you're messing with mine. Messing with mine. You're messing with mine. Come on, baby, let's get down. Let's get down to where the soul makes all the noise. Yeah, all the noise. Uh-huh. 'Cause I know you know, I know the difference. So let me separate the men from the boys. The girls over here. If there's a secret you need to tell me, just open up, come on, and say what's on your mind. Yeah. 'Cause maybe I could finally sleep at night if I didn't have to read in between us. Let's go. Girl, I love you, but you're messing my mind too much. Girl, I love you, your butt. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Girl, I love your butt. You mess with my mind too much. Girl, I love your butt. You're messing with my mind. Tell me you love me. Tell me you love me. I don't wanna know. I don't wanna know. Life is spinning round and round, over, under, upside down. I don't know what's wrong or right. Wide awake all through the night. Girl, I love your butt. Look so good. Girl, I love your butt. You look so fine. Girl, I love your butt. You're about to blow my mind. Girl, I love your butt. You're messing with my mind. Messing with my mind. My mind. My mind. Girl, I love your butt. You mess with my mind too much. Girl, I love your butt. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do. Love ya. Love ya. Love ya. Get to.
I believe.
Forgot about that.
What was that?
That was good. That was so funny. Well, I tell you, I think that we used a reel of 2-inch tape that we used for a different artist.
Oh.
And so we were reusing the tape. And that little tidbit, what was left of whatever we had erased over, and that was the end of the song. And I think I remember at the last one going, that's kind of cool. Let's end the song that way with the steel and the stuff. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, guys, well, I'll roll with that. So I totally forgot about that one.
Cool.
And I forgot that, like I was telling you earlier, I played a clavinet on that one too there. So like that, my total Stevie Wonder walk clavinet thing going. It was cool. And I just remember that they used to get me up there and play that with them whenever they play live. I'd get up there and be able to riff on that one song with them. And I really enjoy that when the artist lets me play some, instruments on their records and stuff. Dave Preston let me do that, and Dr. Izzy and Joanna. I mean, and all that stuff. It's always a thrill for me and to do that. So
Very nice.
right on.
Too bad they broke up.
I know.
I really was bouncing around.
I
in
saw that.
song.
I tell you, they were kicking it. They were a great little band.
I could take a little offense to that song, but us women drive you men crazy because you drive us crazy first.
Right. That's how it goes.
And did I hear that right? It said you're driving me crazy, but girl, I love you, but
Girl, I love your butt.
you look tired.
You look so good to me. I can't remember.
No, the first one was you look so good. The second one was you look tired.
Yeah, I think you're right.
What the hell? You don't say that to a woman. All right, Mr. Clark.
That was awesome.
We're going to have you back for part 2.
Absolutely.
We'll work on that.
Absolutely. We'll have some more good other stories I still got to tell you.
Yeah, you have a lot of stories.
Yeah.
4 more CDs over there. So,
Right. We'll play some more local music that I've done too, which would be great.
yeah.
Awesome.
We'll get those on here. We'll get everything ready
Awesome.
just in case there's another snowstorm.
I'll be more prepared next time.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks
I
for
had so much
having
fun
me.
with you.
Such a pleasure and an honor to be able to be part of this and be able to spend some time with you and play some music for you. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I thank you for coming in. I enjoyed you being here.
Well, thank you.
All right. So Tomorrow, tune in for Lauren Montoya from X Saloon. He is the sound engineer. I'm sure he's got some stories for us, too. And always remember, only you can make your dreams come true. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll be back. Raven on the Rock is brought to you by Rockin' Raven Productions and the Scoop 303. I'd like to give a shout out to our musical credits for our intro, The World Famous Johnsons, our exit, Garco, and our Raven Raps commercial by Michael Hornbuckle. I'd like to thank Rely Local Littleton for sponsoring us, and you can check out all our advertisers on the left side of our website, ravenontherock.com. I'd also like to thank all the amazing musicians in Denver and around the world for sharing their music with us.